Hi guys, morning. It's Louis at Defending Elvis. Got myself a cup of tea. So, I obviously check our Defending Elvis Facebook page 20 times a day. Please join our Defending Elvis Facebook page. It's amazing, amazing. The biggest thing that I've really grown to love about our Defending Elvis Presley Facebook page is I've started posting our YouTube comments that we get on our channel Defending Elvis and on the other channels, Elvis Presley Fan on Keto, our other YouTube channel, Elvis Presley Long Lost Footage, our other Elvis channel. We have 3 channels, yeah. A lot of very good comments, very interesting comments, very detailed comments, very thought out comments. Some people really take their time to write these comments and really have done research and put a lot of time and effort into these comments. Sometimes these comments can take hours to put together. So I've been posting these comments on Facebook, sometimes with a picture. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. And then whilst I was going through the comments, I do check them every day. There's thousands and thousands, almost impossible to read them all. But I do try. The author of this book, let me just see if I can blow it up for you, made a comment. It's called Babybird, and this is the revised edition, and it's called Elvis Aaron Presley, The Man, the Truth. Now, I think I have heard of this book before, so I think the author, just to make sure I've got the name right, is called Judy something. Judy Hunter. Hi, Judy Hunter. Now, I did tell Judy that I'm going to discuss the introduction of this book. There's a specific reason. The introduction of this book really resonates with me because obviously we are defending Elvis. Now, I feel that we're given a hard time about defending Elvis. We're almost told we don't have the right to defend him by some people. Some Elvis fans just don't want to see Elvis being defended. They just only want us to play the music, the movie clips, all the nice stuff, all the good interviews, all the beautiful things. Whilst I accept that reminding people again and again of how amazing Elvis was, his history, his life, his family, his friends, all the people Elvis mixed with, and just the life that Elvis lived, how amazing he was. And this does defend Elvis because it just shows the world how great Elvis was. I still think we do have to bring up the stuff that the wrongdoing of people in Elvis's life, in and around Elvis, things that happened to Elvis, from whether it be an ex-wife, a relative, someone that worked for him, a trash book, a trash movie like Sofia Coppola's Priscilla film, trash. The well-known things are books like this, as we always bring it up, Elvis What Happened, and another book that we keep bringing up is obviously Elvis Aaron Presley and the Memphis Mafia. And then we've got all the documentaries, like All the King's Men, and there's many others. In fact, I came across one today with the Memphis Mafia, and I started watching it, and I couldn't stand it. Let's have a look. I put it on my history. Let's see if it's going to come up. It might not, but there was one I thought, and I started watching it. It was definitely all of the Memphis Mafia, so the usual people. Is that it there? No, the Vegas years. Could it be that one? Yes, it is. So there's one here called Elvis the Vegas Years. This might have been re-put together by a fan. I just found it horrific. They spent half an hour talking about Elvis's health and his problem with drugs. Actually, no, that's not true. They weren't talking about his health. They were talking about his drug problem. No mention of his health. This is the problem when people discuss Elvis's, the state his body was in before he died. No one mentions his health. No one mentions how sick he was. Yeah, that he had genuine health problems and had for decades. Even as a child, he was sick. They just talk about, oh, he was a druggie and he was trying to get as many pills as he could, and he was stuffing 33 pills a day in his mouth. It's all bullshit. Exaggerated, twisted. It's all done for views. Back then, for TV views. Yeah, for ratings. For money. These people were paid money. People like Sonny West, Lamar Fike, Marty Lacka, and other people. Yeah. Yesterday we did a video on Dave Stanley. It's disgusting, the things that Dave said. I could keep mentioning names. Anyway, unfortunately, guys, we do have to defend Elvis. We do have to bring up the wrongdoing of many things. Yeah. So, I mean, I had a comment from a subscriber yesterday. Oh, you know, you've changed your style a bit on how you defend. I'm disappointed, but I can tell you now, I think it was Snowbird. Yep. Hi, Snowbird. You must please check my channel and my Facebook before you say that we're not defending anymore, because only yesterday we did a whole video on Dave Stanley exposing his wrongdoing. And if you look at my Facebook page, I reckon yesterday we made about 10 different posts defending Elvis. So please, before you criticize us for not defending Elvis enough, please check the videos, please check the Facebook, and you'll see that we defend Elvis, me and Team Elvis, yeah, every day, 7 days a week, every day. But we have also introduced some Elvis fan type videos, which I've been doing lately. Like yesterday, we did a tour around Beale Street, a tour around Tupelo. We also did a Memphis Graceland tour. So I remember we are also an Elvis channel. So yes, we defend every day. Defend Elvis and Lisa. But we also are an Elvis channel. So please don't criticize me when you haven't bothered to see that every day we are defending Elvis. I mean that with respect. Right. So this come along. So Judy made a post on our Defending Elvis Facebook page. Not a post, a comment. Please read my book. This is the truth. Now, that interested me. So I messaged this person, Judy. Hi, Judy. And she posted me her book. Now, I have heard of this book, but I've never read it. Now, I'm going to be straight with you guys, and I was straight with Judy. Why is that come up for? So let me just get rid of that a minute. Let's just see what you guys can see. There we go, you can see it. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. More than half of this book, I think, is bizarre. Completely don't agree with it. There's a lot of theories on this that Judy has got that I personally, no offense, Judy, find ridiculous and just very out there. There's a whole Elvis was murdered theory. There's different views on different people that I don't fully agree with. Actually, some of the things she says, I partly agree with. You know, she brings up everybody, doesn't she? She brings up the Smiths. She brings up Jerry Schilling, Priscilla, Ginger Alden, Linda Thompson. I have read almost all of the book. I don't like reading, but I thought it was quite a short book. Well, it's 330 pages. So I read a lot of it. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, the extreme views that Judy has, I definitely don't agree with. Yeah. Some of the views she has on friends and family, I'm a little bit, a bit over the top. But the thing that I did like about the book was the introduction, because the introduction sort of says to fans why we defend. This is the point of this video I'm making now. We defend for a reason. We defend because we think Elvis has been very unfairly portrayed. Very unfairly. And that 100% he cannot defend himself. We think many things have been said about Elvis, whether it be in books or documentaries, biographies, whatever, movies, that he can't do anything about. None of these people have been challenged. Who challenges people like Priscilla? Yeah? Who challenges people like Red West, Sunny West, Dave Hebler. Dave's still around, isn't he? Yeah. Who challenges him properly? Actually, Dave's had done a few interviews, but he gets very upset when he's challenged. So, yeah, I think Dave Hebler is bloody out of order. He needs to apologise for the way he's treated Elvis. Disgusting. I don't hate him or anything. We're not a hate channel. I just think you need to rein it in, show regret, and say sorry. Stop making excuses for this massive blunder you did for money. Yeah, stop trying to find a way to excuse that behavior towards a very good friend of yours who treated you so well. So there's many things in this book you guys know I'm unhappy with. There's Billy Smith, Marty Lacker, Lamar Fight, all said things they just should not have said. Yeah. One of the ridiculous things was that Elvis faked his death, which is just laughable, guys. Yeah. Which is mentioned in this book. Should never have happened. There's no excuse. Should never have happened. Yeah. Right. But the thing I did like about this book, the first part of it only, the introduction only, yeah, is it explains why we defend. It sort of says, look, I'm a fan. I love Elvis. I don't think it's right how Elvis has been treated. And this is why. So I'm not going to read this book, I've already read it. Yeah. So it's 356 pages long. Just so you know, the title is Elvis Aaron Presley, The Man, the Truth, and it's by Babybird. It's the revised edition. I think the book is sort of known as Babybird to some people, because whenever people mention it to me, they say, "Oh yeah, I've read Babybird." So the bit that I did think was okay is that she is an Elvis defender. She loves Elvis. She clearly loves Elvis. And she tries to explain why she defends. Yeah. So I'm going to just rush through it, guys. This is a free book that you can get from Judy for nothing. I have posted it on the Defending Elvis chat. I will try and see if I can send the PDF to my Defending Elvis Facebook page, not to promote it, because 70% of this book I don't agree with, but it's more to give you an idea of the parts that I do agree with. Basically, her reasons for defending, I do agree with. So she says she's dyslexic, but I wanted to put things right for Elvis. So please forgive me, my grammar spelling. Yeah. So she loves Elvis, guys, and Lisa, of course. Yeah. So there have been many books written about Elvis. A lot have been sensationalized, lies and half-truths. Some are total fantasy. There have been a few good ones, but nowhere near as many as the bad ones. Some written by people he knew, some written by people who were not even born when he was alive, and some making extraordinary, unbelievable claims from people who have no knowledge of what they are peddling. All they care about is making money. The greed surrounding this kind, gentle man since his death is quite horrific. I agree with that. So as soon as I started reading that, I thought, this is a genuine defender of Elvis. Yeah. I thought at the very least we can do is, let me just get a book. She's going to bring up the book Destined to Die Young. So what we're going to do a couple of videos this morning, and I'm just going to go through some of this book with the point of view of showing you guys, the Elvis fans, how we defend, why we defend, because we get told off a lot for defending, guys. We get a lot of Elvis fans that are upset with us for defending. So this, I think, makes people understand a little bit. So the opening wording that she's given is very clear. Yeah, it's just not fair. So for some reason she mentions the Sally Hoddle book, Destined to Die Young. I've always said I don't like the title. I don't believe Elvis was definitely going to die young. I don't believe it. I think fame, success had a big part of why Elvis died so young. Yeah. So she mentions the book Destined to Die Young. I think she's just basically saying, I don't agree with the Alpha 1 theory. There's an Alpha 1 gene theory. I'll be honest with you, this is not a medical book. There's no real 100% proof that Elvis had this Alpha 1 gene. I do agree with that point. I'm not saying he didn't or did. I'm just saying this is not a medical book. Yeah, this is Sally Hoddle's version of things. Yeah, she's done a lot of research. She's used a lot of other people's research. But ultimately, I do like the fact that someone is trying to defend Elvis because they're trying to say, look, Elvis was sick. He needed his prescription medication. I love that. But to say that, I would never treat this book as fact. Yeah? So I think that's what she's trying to say here. Let me just read it. One book by a woman who has no medical knowledge or proof said Elvis was destined to die when in fact he was not destined to die, and he did not have the Alpha 1 gene. He was tested for the gene in 73 and he did not have it, but she insisted that he did because he was inbred country hip. The same as his mother, a title Elvis hated and struggled against his whole life. Her whole book was based on a lie, but many believe her because she is supposed to know. Now, I just wanted you to know, guys, that is not my views. That is Judy's views. Yeah, everything I say on this show is for entertainment purposes, not a fact, just a discussion and just different opinions. So I do agree to a certain degree that this is a well-researched story. Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, it's a theory of Sally. Yeah, but anyone that tries to defend Elvis, it's got to be a good thing. But come on, guys, let's be real. I would say this book is much nearer to the truth. Yeah, so you've got The Strange Medical Saga of Elvis Presley, written by Dr. Forrest Tennant. There are many reasons why the things that he says he can back up. Yeah, with documents. Yeah. I'm not saying this is truth. I'm saying it's nearer to the truth. I know a lot of his theories are based on head injury that Elvis had when he fell over, hit himself in the bath. Yeah. Let's keep going, guys. Right, so got yourselves a cup of tea. Now, remember, this is just discussing the introduction of this book. This is not me agreeing with this book. Right, another proclaimed with his book, thing only a brother would know. He was not Elvis's brother. In fact, never spoke to or Elvis. After 1972, Elvis changed the most. After he accused Elvis of sleeping with his wife, which Elvis did not. Elvis deserves none of this. He was a gentle, kind, caring man who would help anyone. He said all he wanted to do was make people happy. I got a feeling she's talking about Billy Stanley. Let's keep going. Remember, this is her views. I want to try and dispel some of the myths and lies and show who Elvis really was on the inside, the side of him that he shared with only few, none of the macho crap talked about by some, not the image portrayed by his management, but the real Elvis, the one he mostly had to hide for fear of ridicule or fear of upsetting those who could not understand. I'm quite aware many will call me mad, and to quote Elvis. So I do think Judy's views are very bizarre. I'm not going to call her names. People think you are crazy when you talk about things they don't understand. Some will call me a liar or a fantasist or both, but this is my opinion. I can assure you I would never say anything that would hurt Elvis, unlike so many others. I know he is watching from the spirit and listening to everything said about him, and I can only feel sorry for those who are eroding their souls with all those lies just for the gain in monetary or fame. I hope I can show you who Elvis really was underneath and why and how he was. So it's the truth, guys. It's the truth that a lot of these people that trash Elvis for money do get a bit of fame. notoriety. You know, they do get a bit of, you know, if they're out there, they're being interviewed around the world, aren't they? On different news programs, in magazines, in tabloids, talking about Elvis. If you knew him, if you were connected to him, financially, it was very beneficial. Yeah. Going way back to the 70s through to today. So I understand what she's saying. Now, I've always said this: if you can make money from Elvis, but you talk about him in a positive way, then why not? For example, look at Suzanne. Yeah, Suzanne Lee, co-star of Elvis, a beautiful book. I think even Ginger's book, generally, most of it is very nice. There's a few bits in there that I'm not pleased about. There are books that are just nice, a nice read, aren't there? Like I haven't read it yet. I've heard Jerry Schilling's book is okay, even though I do have views about Jerry Schilling. I personally think Jerry Schilling was way too close to Priscilla. And because of that, that may have caused problems over decades and decades. So you can write a nice book. I will say this, even though I'm a fan of Linda Thompson, 100% she said things I wish she didn't. Yeah, she definitely said things that she didn't need to say. But there's a lot of good things. And Linda, to this day, defends Elvis just like Ginger does. So me and Judy have different views on Linda and Ginger, because I just feel that they do defend Elvis. I do think they both made mistakes. Yeah, I know about Ginger making that movie just after Elvis died, which not good. There's a few interviews, a few tabloid things, magazine things that Ginger did that I think she shouldn't have. But in the long run, she went very quiet after Elvis died for about 30 years. And when she come out with her book, she's always defended Elvis. There's a few things she says that I don't like, but you get what I'm saying, guys. We know who the defenders are. You know, when we talk about Priscilla, I could literally list 100 things I'm not happy with how she's portrayed Elvis. Yeah, I personally, just my opinion, feel that Priscilla has reinvented the truth, changed history with her book, rewritten history. I know you've heard me say it 1,000 times, but there's many things Priscilla has done that I'm not happy with. I don't hate her. We're not a Hate Priscilla channel. I just have strong views, and I do intend always to expose the wrongdoing of Priscilla towards Elvis, just for an opinion, for entertainment purposes, not a fact. Her new book worries me. I'm concerned about her new book that she's bringing out. I think it's going to do some damage to Elvis's reputation. I also think she's going to do some damage to Lisa's reputation. I think the relationship between Priscilla and Lisa was very troubled. Very troubled. Yeah. Obviously, I've said it a million times, guys. Michael Edwards, Priscilla's boyfriend, the alleged abuse that may have happened, that has been admitted by Michael Edwards in this book. Yeah, Michael Edwards, the model, the actor, the guy in Terminator. Disgusting. Yeah, she's a minor. She was a minor. Michael Edwards should be ashamed of himself. We need justice for Lisa. But it's only alleged. We're not saying it happened. We're saying it allegedly happened. You get where I'm going, guys. So let's keep reading. People understand him more of a gentle, kind soul that he really was. I know there are some things I have repeated under different headings. It is because I think it's important. Okay, now, this is Elvis as I knew him to be, how I saw him. As I stated, this is my opinion from what I have observed, seen, and read. Nearly everything in this book can be either found on the internet or in books, magazines, and newspaper articles, and occasionally things have been told to me personally by those who knew him. I have put them all together to form this book to shed light on who Elvis really was and who I think Elvis was in my words. Don't forget, this is her opinion. She's a fan, just like the rest of us. It does take a lot of courage to write a book like this, and a lot of time and effort and hard work and research. Now, it doesn't mean that her version of things is correct. This is very much her version of things. Yeah, I'm going to straight away, I disagree with many of the things in this book. So Elvis once said, the image is one thing and the human being is another. It's very hard to live up to an image. Put it that way. We all know that interview. Right, everyone knows Elvis. The name Elvis Presley is known throughout the world. as being the king of rock and roll, a singer, but he was much more than just a singer, as all his humanitarian awards show. And now, over 45 years after his death, his influence is felt around the globe, not only by his millions of fans, but by every person who ever listened to the popular music or gone to a protest or used their right to stand up and be counted. A dirt poor boy, born on the wrong side of the tracks, bullied at school for being different, told he had no potential by his teachers, even told he could not sing, thrown out of the football team because he was different and would not conform to their idea of normal. Against all the odds, he stood firm to whom he was and would not change to suit the small mind and bigotry around him at the time. Now, remember, this is Judy's views, not mine. I just want to put some water in my tea. I can tell this is going to take a little while, guys. So you get where we're going. It's very clear that Judy is a defender. Some of you are going to not like things in that book. I'm not going to read the stuff that I find a bit out there, a bit bizarre. I'm just going to read the introduction because it's a fan saying, I have to defend Elvis. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think a fan going, look, do you know what? I love Elvis. I want the world to know the real Elvis. I think that is a good thing. Yeah. And when they start coming up with theories, like murder theories and stuff like that, obviously that doesn't interest me. It's not, I'm not here to discuss those kind of things. I'm just here to make people understand why we defend Elvis. Yeah. Why we do it. Yeah. It's from love. We defend Elvis from love. We defend Elvis because Elvis affected us in such a way. We love him. We feel we know him. We feel a connection to Elvis. We feel his essence. And this is why we defend Elvis. And I guarantee you that the reason Judy defends Elvis is exactly the same reason. She feels a love for him. He's a very special person and deserves much more than he gets. Yeah. So when he embarked by chance on his singing career, white stations would not play his record because he sounded black. Black stations would not play him because he was white. Parts of his records were burnt in the streets. Even effigies of him were burnt. And he was called the devil incarnate and evil and subversive. But he would not conform. He stayed true to himself. He did not just open doors between, so look guys, between blacks and whites. With his music, he smashed down walls and taught up the foundations of the music industry itself. Elvis was the catalyst for change. Every popular black singer from the day and on owed their success in the world that had been barred to them to Elvis, as many have testified on video. Every black and white singer since for Elvis laid down a new foundation for now popular music, but society as a whole. He gave the young generation of the time a voice of their own they had not had before. As one quote went, every man wants to be him, every woman wanted him. He influenced a whole generation to change, and that change carried on. They had a voice they did not have before, and all because this poor bullied boy had courage, more courage than most can imagine, and a voice he would not change to suit the small-minded doctrine at the time. He is a shining example for what one person can do and how they can change society forever. Could you imagine the teens of the early 50s before Elvis having the courage to take to the streets and demonstrate against things like war and poverty? No, they would not have dared. But Elvis set them free. He even influenced people in places that were not supposed to have freedom, like places behind the Iron Curtain. They huddled around their radios to listen to him and even learned English so they could know what he was singing about. He set them free from the doctoring in their countries and gave them hope. Such a priceless gift. Right. Strong words. Right. I want to say, guys, these are not my views, because if I broke that down, if I broke every sentence down on that, what Judy has written, I would have a different take on many of the things. Even though I know what she's trying to say, I don't think we should put Elvis up like a god. Yeah? Superhuman god. I don't think we should do that. And I don't think Elvis would want us to do that. I do think Elvis massively influenced everything, changed the world, 100%. He definitely influenced, very well-known people. Yeah, we could say the Beatles, yeah, Rolling Stones, whatever. He definitely, people around the world in all the countries, loved listening to Elvis, and it changed their lives, yeah, as well, yeah. But this is Judy's words, yeah. So, but you get the idea what she's saying. She's basically saying Elvis changed the world, yeah. I will say this: Elvis always liked people to know he was a normal person with an amazing talent, yeah. He didn't want to be worshipped he didn't want to be called the king for a start. He always said there was only one king. Obviously, he's a very Christian man, yeah. So anyway, let's keep going. Elvis was only a man who never forgot his humble beginnings. That is the bit I like to come across when I read things. When I read other people talking about Elvis, we must remember this. Humble beginnings. He was a man, a human being, yeah, and gave countless millions to charities of all kinds, some known, some anonymously. He also did concerts for charity. Even the scarves he gave away, every one of them made money for the charity that he paid for people in and the need to have operations they could not afford, not for publicity or for fame, but because he knew what it was like to have nothing and wanted to share his fortune with others. He would even give gifts of cars, motorbikes, and complete strangers just to bring them joy. He never thought himself better than anyone else. I agree with that. And always treated all people with respect and humility, 100%. For his fans, he is more than a singer. He is someone they respect and look up to, someone to emulate. He has unified countless millions across the world, and no matter where they came from, what nationality, religion, color, or creed, they are unified because of one man, Elvis Presley. And in this, his 46th year since his death, obviously this was written a while ago, still the legions of his supporters grow. And who else has ever had such a strong following? His story is the epitome of what one dirt poor bullied boy. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, I don't like him being called a dirt poor bullied boy. I'll be honest with you that. Yes, 100%. He was poor, very poor. Sometimes Elvis may have been bullied, but I wouldn't. This is Louis, yeah, Louis the fan. I wouldn't describe Elvis in that way. I would just think he was a lovely, humble boy, yeah, with very simple beginnings. Come on, guys. Many of us had very simple beginnings, didn't we? Yeah, we weren't all born into wealth. So I would say in some ways just a typical boy from that time, yeah, the 40s. There was not much money around, times were tough, but with an extraordinary talent. And obviously the story where he lost his twin, and the story of Gladys and Vernon, it's very heartbreaking, yeah. So a boy who would not conform to do it and is an inspiration to millions. Elvis showed all those other poor bullied children, the whole poor bullied children bit. I don't like the word bully being thrown around, but I think all kids at some point probably have experienced some kind of bullying. One American can do is give them hope and courage to be great. 100% Elvis did do that. After all, hope and courage are the greatest gifts anyone can give. So then she mentions on an English BBC TV, Great American Railroad Journeys, Michael Portillo. said Elvis was one of the 3 greatest Americans to have ever lived. Well, I agree with that. Personally, I think Elvis was one of the greatest men who ever lived. He changed the world. And a quote from Muhammad Ali, he said, "I was in Africa and I went into the tent and there was nobody there, nothing but a holy Bible. I picked it up and inside was a photo of Elvis." Well, that's lovely. And come on, guys. Muhammad Ali loved Elvis. Elvis loved Muhammad Ali. We're all big Muhammad Ali fans, aren't we? So that's lovely, yeah? But let's not make Elvis out to be some kind of god, yeah? Right, let's keep going. Elvis the man, his real character, and not the image. The image most people have of Elvis is wrong. Sadly, may still think he was his image and he was not. So this is a big thing that I fight against, yeah? That if I speak to the average person, yeah, about Elvis, because obviously I run 3 Elvis channels. I've been an Elvis fan since I was 4 and 58 years old, okay? I love Elvis, yeah? I immersed myself in Elvis, Lisa, and the bloodline. I want to defend Elvis. I love running channels that are discussing Elvis, yeah, and anything connected to Elvis, yeah? I'm a big fan. I'm just a fan, I'm not a researcher, yeah? And if you mention Elvis to anybody, they will come out with the trash. They will bring up the drugs, the shagging about, the binge eating, how he died. They don't know the truth. They don't know the true man. And when you try to defend Elvis, they don't believe you. So I agree with what Judy is saying, that Elvis's image has been seriously damaged, warped, bent out of shape, and it's so far from the truth. If only the world knew just how great Elvis was, how lovely, how decent he was, what a good heart he had, a Christian man, how much he loved gospel music, how much religion really played a massive part of Elvis's life, massively influenced him. I would say Elvis being a Christian is what made him a singer. Yeah. So people just don't know just how decent Elvis was. They judge him in a disgusting way that really upsets me. And when I try and defend Elvis, I feel like it's an uphill battle because the people just don't want to hear it. I'm on about non-Elvis fans, yeah? They have fallen for the fake portrayal of Elvis. Unfortunately, people close to Elvis, including his ex-wife and family members and other people and movies and biographies and trash books, trash tabloids, trash everything, have really helped warp Elvis's reputation. Damaged it. Really seriously damaged Elvis's reputation. So this is what Judy is saying. This is what my Elvis was, and with so many other things you may or may not agree with, but this is my opinion on him. My take on the real Elvis, this is about him. Elvis said, "The image is one thing and the human being is another. It's very hard to live up to an image." Right, let's have a look. Elvis would rather read to someone from a spiritual book or sing to them and just talk. Yeah. People just think Elvis just wanted to bonk everything. It wasn't like that, guys. There was much more to Elvis than trying to find the next female conquest. There was much more to him that Elvis was looking for love, a companion. Elvis was always searching for the right person, in my opinion. Yeah. Sadly, some people believe the hype that Elvis was oversexed, had sex with all the leading ladies, but they have all said it did not happen. That was part of the image Parker put out there, but it was not. Many of the people that people think that Elvis was seeing, they were just very good friends. They were very good friends. Now, am I going to say he didn't have sex with any of them? Of course not. That's over the top. But I get the point. Some have wrongly stated that he could or did not have sex because of his medications in the 70s. This is also untrue, as many of the girlfriends in the 70s have attested. Elvis would rather just kiss and cuddle and read, sing to his girlfriends, whatever his age was, until he was absolutely sure about the other person. I agree with that. I've seen interviews of people right up in the mid 70s. Elvis wanted to get to know you, trust you, feel comfortable around you. He didn't have to bang you the first chance he got. Elvis wasn't as shallow as that, guys. You know, obviously the Elvis as a teenager in his early 20s, will be different than the Elvis in his late 20s and 30s, early 40s. There are many videos of his early girlfriends on YouTube saying that they never had sex long before he took any medications. Elvis did not believe in sex before marriage. Even Scylla will attest to that. Elvis never wanted to have sex with anyone. He was looking for that someone special he had a connection with. Well, it depends what age he was. Yeah, it depends. It's like, you know, had Elvis ever found that one person he felt spiritual connection to on a physical plane of existence, which sadly he never did, the one who could fill that hole in his heart and give him inner peace, then their lovemaking would have been a sacred spiritual act of two souls. Yeah. So again, come on. He's a man. He's a young, in his teenage years, before he got famous, he wanted to have a girlfriend. He had a few relationships, didn't he, guys? In his teen years. And then in his 20s, we've got different relationships, whether it be Anita Wood, June Junico. So, I'm not going to put him up there and think that he was trying to have this monumental spiritual experience with a girl when he was just starting out in fame, a successful rock and roll artist who very quickly was making movies. He was normal, just like the rest of us when it comes to women. So again, let's not make him out like he's a god, but I do agree that as Elvis got older, more mature, his religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, really did start to take a hold. Now, remember, Elvis was very, very religious growing up as a child and as a teenager, so that massively influenced his life as well. Of course it did. But come on, guys. He's a rock and roll singer. He's got women throwing them at him. He has the usual temptations that all young men have. So if he did have a few conquests with different girls now and then, it's completely normal. I'm not going to hold it against him. So I won't sort of put him up on this pedestal of some god type person. Right. I do agree Elvis was not sex crazed. I do agree with that. I think Elvis, there was many more things in Elvis's life that were much more important to him. So it is about time people that realised to forget the hype and realise who Elvis the man was. He was not the image manufactured. I agree with that. The image portrayed of Elvis around the world, especially in tabloids back then, was just far from the truth. Right. Even Scylla admitted that Elvis was not interested in sex and did not do it. Well, even that's not straightforward. Elvis, of course, was interested in sex. And she gets pregnant. Obviously, around the night of the wedding, she's pregnant. Yeah? There is a myth here that Elvis lost his virginity. No, that Priscilla lost her virginity to Elvis on the night of the wedding. It's bullshit, guys, because we've already proved in this book that they were sleeping before the night of the wedding. This is just alleged entertainment purposes, opinion, not fact. Lisa said it. They were sleeping together before the night of the wedding. So I just think that is a fake truth, a lie that Priscilla has been telling for decades, that this sweet fairy tale that is, because Priscilla, in my opinion, wants her story, her romance between her and Elvis to be a perfect romance, a reinvention of the truth. Everything was beautiful and sweet, and that she lost her virginity to him and she held out for him till the night of the wedding. Elvis only wanted to marry a virgin. Guys, come on. Does anyone fall for the fake fairy tale? Yeah? It's just not the case, in my opinion. For entertainment purposes, not a fact. So the whole bit with Scylla admitted that he was not interested in sex. Yeah, because months after Lisa Marie was born, Elvis, months after, remember, she's admitted this in the book, page 262 of the book. This book, she slept with Steve Peck, the dance instructor, months after Lisa Marie was born, like 2 or 3 months. Yeah. So that is, in my opinion, why Elvis didn't want to have sex with Priscilla. Who wants to have sex with their partner, their wife, that has been unfaithful to the dance instructor and Poor Lisa Marie was just a baby. That is why they didn't have sex. Not because Elvis was not interested in sex. Elvis liked sex just like the rest of us. So I don't accept that point, yeah? But some people say Elvis was humble, that he was shy. What it was is he had low self-esteem and a fragile ego. He never thought himself good enough. I do think Elvis struggled with things like that. Don't many of us? Many of us do. Right, so guys, what I'm going to do, this is part 1. I'm going to upload this, and then I am going to come back and do part 2. So we are discussing the introduction of this book. I'm giving you my review of it. I don't want to offend Judy, Babybird, the book. I just thought she went to the effort of sending me the book, asking me to read it. I thought the least I can do is review the introduction only. If you guys decide to read that book, it's 330 odd pages. It's completely free. I'm going to try and post it on my Defending Elvis Facebook, but it is on the Defending Elvis chat. I have posted it on the Defending Elvis chat. I'm not really good at sharing documents, not very good at it. So I think the first half of the book you'll find interesting. The second half, pretty extreme. Not for me, not my cup of tea. But the introduction was very interesting to me. Okay, guys, I'm going to upload this now and come back with part 2.